Top of it. It's Dylan Alexander. Thanks for checking me out. And today I want to talk about why I stopped pursuing a career in entertainment. Me specifically, it was stand-up comedy. And this is a recent thing that I've really been back and forth about quitting for the past, I'd say past 4 years, really. You know, about 2021, at the end of that year, I was really thinking about quitting all the way. And even more so 2020, man, when COVID hit, that was like a big sign, a red flag I noticed with this industry. And the main reason I stopped pursuing it is just the odds, right? The odds of making it. The odds of making it are very slim. Not to say I couldn't make it, not to say I couldn't make a living at it. I'm sure I could if I really went harder and put in more effort with it. However, excuse me for these dogs, I'm running through their territory real quick. But I could have really made it, man. I could have. I could have, but could have, would have, should have, right? I'm not going to sit here and could have, would have this, could have, would have that. But I just was doing the math, and I'm thinking like, man, because I've already been doing it at this point today, over 10 years if I was still doing it. Right, I started in January 2015, but I only did it like 3 times that month, and then I didn't really take it serious and get back up on stage until December of 2015. So about a year I took off, my first year, because I got kind of sidetracked with some stuff. So about really 9 years of hard pursuing it. But as I mentioned, man, I just did the math, right? And the odds of making it big. And considering the industry itself, of what it takes to really make it to that level. For me, as a man I've been doing business, you know, I found business along the way of doing comedy, right? In another industry. And the profitability of making it in that entertainment and comedy, it just didn't make any sense, because just the amount of energy that it takes to not only make it, but to even just have a chance at making it. You have to put in so much work constantly, every day, every week, hitting open mics, working on material, constantly you have to constantly be getting better. You have to be getting booked on shows, right? You gotta do well in front of people that book shows. The pressure. If you don't kill in front of people that book shows, they're gonna see that. And now, moving forward, they're always gonna remember you as the guy that you did all right, or you bombed, or whatever, right? No matter how many times you do well, if you don't do amazing in front of people that book, or they just don't like you, you're not getting booked from them. So there's that aspect of you got to get booked by people that have basically the gatekeepers, right? Okay, but then there's an aspect of, well, forget the gatekeepers. I'm gonna be a real hustler, and I'm gonna make my own shows, right? You can do that. You can do your own shows. You can do the hard work of finding a venue, getting hooked up with the owner of the venue and doing business numbers, talking numbers with them and saying, hey, I got X amount of followers and I can get some people to this show. We'll split it down the middle. You know, I get paid by the bar, you pay blah, blah, blah. And that's a lot of work. Now, you got to take your mind off of just doing well, doing great at comedy, killing it with just being a funny mofo, right? That's already tough. But now you got to focus on the business aspect, of finding a venue, talking numbers, finding somebody who agrees and sees your vision. Then you got to be able to market this show a month or two in advance to get people to know it's a show. Then you got to get people to come out. There's no guarantee these people are going to come out. You could promote it all day long, but they don't know you. You're not a well-known name. They don't know if you're funny. So why would these people come see some random guy doing comedy? Me, just thinking as a customer and a consumer, I don't even know if I would just come see some random person do comedy. And I'm a comedian. I don't even know if I would do that. Probably not. I would wait to see somebody like well-known that I would, maybe on social media, Instagram, that I know about. Now, I'll check him out, X, Y, and Z. So it's like, and then you put in all this work to promote these shows, right? And then nobody comes. You get like 10 people in the crowd. I mean, that's cool. You get 10 people. That's not, that's not good, but there's people there. It's a show. And it's like, you could use Eventbrite and all these other platforms to help you. But as far as you making a profit, you can do all this work. This is months of work. So you're focused on your material, you're trying to sharpen up. You're focused on marketing. You got to find a venue that has an owner that sees your vision, that can get on board with that. And this, like I said, is months of work. All this time, you got to still work your job or your business that you're doing that's really paying the bills. So you're doing all this extra work to finally get to the day of the show. And it's like, you might get 10 people, you might get 20 if you're lucky, or 30 if you're really killing it. I've seen some cats that are out here, I don't know how they're doing it, they're promoting, they get a whole place filled up. That's awesome, and I'm saluting you. Congrats. But if you're not spectacular at your marketing and just you good at shaking hands and kissing babies on some like campaign type stuff and getting butts in seats, if you're not good at that, oh man, you have to get booked to really get on or get recommended by other comedians that have to like you. And I'm just saying, you're doing all this work, and I'm telling you, I know people that do this in the comedy game, put in all this work, and at the end of the day, when the show's all done and all the tickets are paid and everybody goes home, they come home and they look at their bank account and it's like you're negative. You didn't even make a profit. You broke even. That means you made nothing. It was just zero. You put in all this money, you had to hire a DJ. You understand? And this is just if you want to do it on your own. That's exhausting. That's insane to do all of that work for nothing. I could have just used all that energy to focus on my business that actually pays. You understand me? So why would I put in all this work to not get paid? Or barely have some random people kind of know that I do comedy. Okay, whoop-de-doo. They may or may not come check me out again. Because it's like I'm not really fully all the way focused on my jokes. I mean, yeah, you might be, but you're still kind of focused on the business. It's just too much. For me, it's too much. And I just realized it here this year. Shout out to my guys that are out here doing it. I got a lot of good friends in the game, still pursuing it, and I wish you guys the best. I hope you guys succeed, and I would love, and I know there's a few guys I know that are actually making it. I know some from Tampa, my first city I started, and I know quite a few from Houston that are killing it out here. And I can see in the next few years they're gonna be on the big screen, big time, and it's gonna be pretty cool to be like, hey, I know him. Maybe I go to a show and I'm like, yeah, shake your hand, boom, that's my guy, right? That's cool. But for me, in my limited time on this planet, I got to a point where I realized, dude, I'm not gonna be here a million years. I'll be lucky if I get 100. And there's no point of wasting another decade pursuing this for pennies. What, for the sake of pursuing a passion? Man, I'm not passionate about something that bad. No, I don't care about my passions like that. I need to get paid. You understand me? And I hope you do too. Whatever it is you're looking to do, you need to get paid at it, man. Life is way too short to not be getting compensated for your talents and skills. And that's why I stopped pursuing stand-up comedy and entertainment. And I've pivoted all the way into business, into other streams of real income that can scale up and unlock freedom for me and my future family. Another thing with comedy, man, I've been doing it 10 years. And I remember like a couple years into it, I met this one comedy club owner, and I met a few guys. It's like comedy's got this thing where people kind of just say the same stuff and we all kind of get it about it. But this comedy club owner, man, I'm like talking about my girl problems at the time. I was dealing with this chick giving me issues, and I kind of just mentioned it to this club owner. He's like, man, dude, there's no time for women in comedy. There's no time for relationships. I was just heartbroken. I'm like, what? I didn't say anything, but I was just like, what? The hell do you mean no time for relationships? And it's kind of true. Like, to all the guys that got like a wife and kids doing comedy, man, they got to be established in some way. They got to be established. If not, man, what chick is gonna take you serious? I'm pursuing stand-up comedy. I used to think it was cool to tell chicks I'm pursuing comedy, and some of them kind of thought it was cool. But after a while, I realized this is kind of lame to tell a bitch I'm doing stand-up comedy, because like I'm 30 now, I'm 30 plus, and I ain't even made it yet. I've been doing it, and the worst, you don't want to tell them you've been doing it a decade. Because now they think, oh, you should have made it by now. You should be well on your way. Hell no. Hell no. I barely made, in my entire 10 years, I have not even cracked $1,000 getting paid with comedy. So what the hell? What am I doing? Look, man, I know when to fold them. I know when to stop going, It just reaches a point where you're like, man, what am I doing? And yeah, I reached that point a couple years ago, but I still got lumped into it. The homies invited me to do shows, and it's hard to turn it down. It's still fun. It's fun as hell to do it. That's why I started doing it. But man, I need to get paid, man. I'm a grown man. I got bills. I want to have kids at some point. Yeah, man, no, we got to get serious about life. Like, bro, I know one comedian, I'm not going to say his name, but some of y'all may know watching, but there's one comic, I know he's like 75, almost 80 years old. And he's just now starting to get some real traction. He's going viral and stuff, people recognizing him and everything, and salute to him. But bro he's still asking for rides. Like, let that sink in. He's like almost 80 years old, still asking local comedians in comedy, Facebook comedy groups, posting regularly, hey, can somebody give me a ride from the airport, and a ride to the airport, lunch on me. And he's been doing that since before he started making it. He's starting to like get booked nationally and stuff, but you gotta ask people for rides, still paying rent at his apartment. no family, no kids. I don't think he has kids. And a lot of people be like, oh, he's a legend. And I'm sure he is. Salute to him. But I'm just looking like no, that's not what I want to be on. At 80 years old, I promise you, if I don't have like a family and stuff, man, that I can like rely on to give me a ride instead of asking a bunch of random comedians, and bro, just off me, get me out of here. What are we talking about? That's just me. Salute to him. Everybody got different goals and stuff. I'm just talking about me. And I'm comparing, I'm like, no way. And so I gotta and it's just so many other red flags that I don't need to get into, but ultimately, yo, look at this dragonfly. Can y'all see that? Oh, let me see what this camera can see. I think y'all can see that. Oh, shit. Anyways, that dragonfly just killed another dragonfly. Anyways, going off on a tangent. But I'm just saying, man, look, I looked at the bigger picture of life, and I know how short life is, and I want to enjoy my life, man. I want to travel. I want to be around beautiful women. And I want to just be able to give real good information back to the world and not just be this clown, always thinking about making a joke. How can I make this funny? I have to constantly work on material, constantly going to open mics where I'm waiting an hour to go up in front of 4 people, maybe 7 people if I'm lucky, to make laugh. And it's fucking 11:30, 12 o'clock midnight on a Tuesday. And it's like, what am I doing? I've done that so many times. It's like, what am I doing? And I see other people doing this for years. And the crazy part is, when I took a break, I've taken many breaks towards the past few years of comedy. I'll get back into it a little bit, and I just like, all right, I'm turned off again. But when I take a break and I stop doing comedy and I watch people, my peers that are still doing it in the trenches, going hard like I used to, and they're old, they're getting older in their 40s and 50s, pursuing it. And I'm looking at them, and I'm just looking at their egos, and they think they're big shots. And they're like, oh man, they're talking down on other comedians that are like not doing well. Oh, you ain't making nobody laugh, you ain't getting laughs, or you ain't getting booked, blah, blah, blah. But I'm just looking from the back, from the outside looking in, it's way easier to see. But when you're in it, you can't see it. But when you take a step back and you're like, you guys are all losers, low key. None of y'all are making it. None of y'all are getting booked. Barely any of y'all are paying rent with your comedy. Like, there's only like 4 or 5 that I know are paying like rent and balling doing comedy. Even the ones that are established are like making mediocre. They're probably making $30,000, $40,000 a year off comedy, if they're lucky. Those are the established ones. You understand me? My goals changed since I started the game. I was 22, 23 when I started. I just wanted freedom, and I was like, oh, let me do comedy because it's fun. And I had that idea, but now, as I've gotten older and I realized what's really important in this life is true freedom and ability to do what you want, live how you want, at the level you want, man, that's not for me anymore. And this message is for anybody that's pursuing something that you may have a hard time of letting go of something. You've been in it for a long time. You've been just doing it. You've been wasting years, and you don't want to just quit because you look like a quitter. But man, that's one of the things about life is you got to know when to keep going harder and when to just let it go and make a new pivot in a new direction. And that's what life is sometimes. You got to make those tough decisions. But nobody knows besides you whether or not you should quit, because only you know what you really want to do. If you want to keep going, keep seeing if you'll make it, that's up to you. But if you want to say, man, I'm going to just quit while I'm ahead, and find something else and use all that energy towards something else that's going to be more fulfilling for my soul in my limited time on this planet, then make that decision. Nothing wrong with it. Nobody's judging you. Who cares? Everybody else is pursuing their own ventures in life. Nobody's looking at your life like, oh, look at him, he quit after he was doing it for 10 years. I promise, nobody's looking at my life like that. And if they are, you're looking at my life way too deep. You need to focus on your life. I don't even care. If somebody's looking at my life like that, I don't even care. Because I only care about my judgment. What do I think about me? Anybody else's opinion means nothing to me at all. And that's freedom. And you all should be having that. You should have that pure freedom of loving what you are about, loving your passions and pursuits. Fuck what these haters are thinking, you know? So this video is a little longer than I wanted it to be, but I had to really explain that because I know it's gonna give some insight as to how to think about your journey and not get lost in the sauce, which is so easy, and I see it all the time. People are just lost in the sauce and your ego is getting in the way versus just being objective and looking at things for the truth and not getting lost in these false egotistical lies and just staying on your own path, your own journey, because it's all about you. You understand? So I hope this helps. Let me know if it does in the comments, and I'm gonna catch y'all on the next one, man. Love, peace.